kiddos from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC for Gold Learning. And here at Gold, our preparations for our annual Gold Lactation online conference are in full swing. And before the conference, we like to get together with our presenters and chat with them a little bit what they're working on now. We're going to talk about the presentation too and introduce you to them. And with me today is Paulina Erices. Welcome, Paulina.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me.
It's wonderful to have you back, Paulina. It's always nice to. When I saw you were on the list, I was thinking, yes, Paulina is back. I'm so happy. You have such good information to share each time you present with us. So it's wonderful to have you back.
Thank you. Well, we have a lot of fun doing this too. So
That is
I love being here this year too.
That is true for sure. So, Paulina, tell our listeners who are not familiar with you yet a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background and the work that you presently are doing.
Sounds good. Well, I am a mom of three kids. I have a 17-year-old, 14-year-old, and an 8-year-old, and that's a big part of my life.
Yeah.
I'm also a maternal child health specialist at the Jefferson County Public Health Department in Colorado. I also work as a lactation consultant in private practice, small private practice at this time, seeing mostly babies transitioning from the NICU to home. And that's also one of the programs that we are working on in our health department in our agency. I can tell you too that I work in other areas in early childhood, old child development. We do follow up for children with special needs. So it's a little bit of everything. Something I'm very proud is the work that we do with Adelante Consejeras de Lactancia. That's a Spanish-speaking group training future IBCLCs in our communities.
Oh, how wonderful. So you have that Spanish speaking program for, training IBCLCs in the community. That's wonderful. I love hearing that. And
Yeah,
you and I were chatting. Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to
oh
interrupt
no,
you.
that's fantastic. That's at this point where most of my attention goes, and also training and how do we support our babies who were in the NICU as well.
Yes.
So from a community perspective, lactation development.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And you and I were chatting a little before we were here on camera. We were just chatting a little bit about, life and your work. And you were telling us right now you're very busy because your state has declared the emergency because of the coronavirus. So tell us a little bit what work have you been involved in? What's happening? Do you get a lot of questions from parents, moms, nursing moms, pregnant moms? What do you see in your community?
Well, I mostly see a lot of questions. People are seeking correct information, accurate information that helps them make decisions about how they could take care of their families. So in our role in public health and my role, working with what we define as hard to reach communities, is to bring that reassurance that we are thinking of everybody and that we are taking all of the precautions to make sure that the information gets to them, that they feel prepared. I don't want anybody to panic. So I'm just saying, wash your hands. Let's be mindful. Let's make sure that we have a medical provider, that we trust each other to say, hey, I need help. Can you come and take care of my kids because I'm not feeling well? I think that that's when community comes together for healing, for recovering after an illness. So this is, again, an opportunity for us to show that we're always like giving each other support.
That sounds wonderful, giving each other support. You were talking about hard to reach communities. Tell us who are these families?
Well, it really varies from different states or counties. For me, it's like families with children younger than 5 are extremely busy, or families who do not speak English and may not be receiving all of this information completely and fully and with the language of their heart. That may be a hard to reach community. I would say a NICU family. When we are thinking about this baby right here, right now, and their health in the next weeks, we're not really maybe thinking or being aware of what is going on in the rest of the country. So we want to make sure that they have the support to make decisions, that this is not a stressful. It may be a little, we know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't want to pretend that that's not true, but then that they know that with that stress also comes a whole team of support for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that must be, these families, and we talk about that in just a little bit because we're going to talk about your presentation too. But just back to the coronavirus, for families who have little ones in the NICU, they're probably extremely, worried already about what's going on with their little one, but also then with this new situation there, that they're probably worried that they're bringing something in from the outside, or maybe they are exposed to, even if they don't get sick themselves, but if they're bringing something in that could be devastating for the little ones there in the NICU and so on. So I'm sure you're getting a lot of concerns and questions there from parents with little ones in the NICU.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we can say is that we have been preparing for this for over 10 years. It's, or maybe longer.
Yeah.
And we have an amazing team who doesn't
Good.
only look at the safely, physical safely, but mental health, information, the ability to make your own decisions.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have an amazing team working on this.
That's wonderful
That's
to
it.
hear. And also good to hear that everything is also being prepared in Spanish, because we know that many families
Mhm.
out there that, English is not their first language. And it's important that they get good and clear information, concise information, not just, panic from hearsay or something from social media, but from the experts that really is trustworthy information in their own language.
Absolutely. And that they can call me anytime. Keep telling them,
Good.
just call me.
That's
And we
wonderful.
can chat.
Wonderful, thank you. And now talking about your topic here at Gold, you are part of the Gold Lactation Online Conference here this year, and you're going to present on nursing a preemie, perspectives for lactation supporters and professionals. So tell us a little bit what you will be covering there.
We're going to be covering what are the opportunities and the challenges of
Mm,
establishing lactation in the NICU and also in that transition home. Also, how to support the parent-child relationship and see and identify child development and the parent-child relationship as in the context of feeding. So I also do present a broader approach. We're not just talking about breastfeeding. We're not just talking about exclusive pumping. Sometimes we have to use substitutes in order to build up the skills
mm,
in babies, and that's our goal. So it's a broader approach to what does this baby need, this particular baby needs in order to be successful in the long term. What does this family need in
right.
order to be successful and happy and healthy? And then what is the community around that? And what is the influence that we as lactation consultants, as providers, can have in that community of support coming towards this family?
Wonderful. Yeah, each approach needs to be as per the family, right? It needs to be tailor-made for that particular family. What works for them, what works for the baby, what works for, the baby as a preemie, what kind of health issues does this little one have, and what works in that frame, but also what works for the family as and the community, because I love that you mentioned also that you will talk about the transition from the NICU or from the hospital going home, because I always find that there is a little bit of a, and maybe it's just me, but I see there's a little bit of a gap, in the NICU. um, there are certain tools available and follow through and support, but then going home, all of a sudden they're in their own world with a little one that still needs a lot of care, and every baby needs care, but and a little one like that needs a little bit extra care, and then being thrown in that situation, and then also the breastfeeding with that as well. So I'm glad that you will be also talking about the transition there.
Absolutely. And in that part, it's also so important to remember that we are also being affected, that we are part of that system as
Yeah.
providers with them. So I have been working a lot on infant mental health and a reflective consultation.
Mm,
So how do we take care of us as a community of lactation consultants and professionals? Because this really requires a cross-sector approach to be able to provide the best services to the families that we care for. So that's another piece that we're going to cover.
Wonderful. That sounds absolutely fantastic. So, if you had to pick just a couple of things that just to highlight here, what are your hopes what are you hoping our delegates will take away from this presentation?
I want to be curious. I want them to be curious about what we could do and how we could make the experience better for families. I'm a believer that we may not be able to change the situation, but we certainly change the experience. I was a doula before, so that kind of I lead every piece of work
Yeah.
thinking we can make this experience positive, healthy, and build up the strength of the families so they are able to be the caregivers they want to be for their babies. So, yeah, I'm hoping that we get curious and start wondering more.
Wonderful. I love hearing that about the experience and you bringing in your doula background there as well. That's just a fantastic here. And I know many of our listeners are also doulas and in the field too. But you don't have to be a doula to really take away these elements of care, not just um, feeding is of course important, and but also the experience that the family has there in that context as well.
Yeah, and that's why I love being a lactation consultant because I'm not there to just measure the ounces, right, that are being
Yeah,
transferred. We are there to take care of the whole family and to
right.
work for what they want to accomplish and to really build up the like the foundations that's
Hmm.
going to determine the relationship they're going to have the rest of their life with their kiddos. So we are there in a really important time.
Absolutely, because it's so far reaching. And you mentioned just that, the relationship they will have for the rest of their lives. I mean, this is such an important topic. And, in the impact we as care providers in that field can have and make that number one, a better experience for parents and the families and also for the babies, not just for the moment, but for years to come.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, Paulina, thank you so much for talking here with me, sitting down here and chatting with me. It's an absolute pleasure having you back. I'm so excited, and we're all looking forward to your presentation, Nursing a Preemie Perspectives for Lactation Supporters and Professionals.
Me too. I can't wait. And if they want to send me, if anybody wants to connect with me in the forum before the presentation, we can start the presentation in the forum in the website because I cannot wait to see what they want to learn, what all of you want to learn and discuss. So I could include some of those questions also during the live presentation.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea, Paulina. Actually, that's really exciting here. Yes. So Paulina's presentation will be live on April 20th for our listeners now and is part of the Gold Lactation online conference. We have over 26 speakers there, over 28 hours of accredited education for you. And also what Paulina just mentioned, if you register, you have access to the forum where you can connect with our speakers and Paulina here directly and ask questions. So as Paulina mentioned, you don't have to wait till the conference starts. You can just hop on there, or the presentation is live, and you can ask questions before or let her know what you're interested in with regards to this topic. So we can either cover it in the Q&A that we have right after the presentation, or even maybe answer some of that during the presentation itself with the topic she's covering.
Sounds
So
good.
yeah, it's wonderful. So I'm really excited about this. So thank you, Paulina, one more time here for being with me here today.
Thank you.
And,
Bye.
bye. And to all our listeners who would like to learn more, we invite you to visit goldlactation.com. There you will find out all the information about this fantastic conference and, of course, about Paulina's presentation. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.